Have you ever wanted to see Lara Croft, the Iron Giant, and Ninja Turtles duke it out with Freddy Krueger, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Scorpion in some big $175 million Lord of the Rings style battle royale with Duran Duran playing in the background? Well, then Ready Player One is for you. But if that's not your cup of tea, there is some little piece of nostalgia in this film that will at least make you perk up in your seat and say, oh yeah, I remember that. I'm Ben Davies, this is Pure Hollywood. Ready Player One is Steven Spielberg's latest movie, and it's a nice change of pace from his Academy-stroking movie The Post last year. Ready Player One is based on the best-selling book by Ernest Cline, and this is more of a focus on tickling the moviegoer's fancy. Now, is this tickle enough to make you cry uncle in enjoyment? Or is it just annoying and makes you want to swat the hand away? Let's find out. As a movie, I'll give Ready Player One a 4 out of 5. This movie has the feel of every summer blockbuster. It's big, it's fun, it's loud, and it's about as deep as a puddle on the street corner. What makes this movie great is the nostalgia. Every single scene is chock full of all these memories of characters, films, and music that we all love that you literally can't look away, and it engages you the entire time. And because of these elements, the 2-hour runtime just flies by. You literally go from someone's room, next thing you know, you're on a racetrack riding the top of Marty McFly's DeLorean, trying to run away from King Kong. Like, it's just, everything happens so fast. Now, this movie's plot is pretty simple. You're set in a dystopian future, and now there's this new computer-generated thing called the Oasis. Everyone can plug in, play, and do whatever you want. Like, it doesn't matter what's going on in the real world, because you can always go in the Oasis and be and do whatever you want. The creator of this game dies, and he leaves 3 keys for any players to go find, and if they find these keys, they end up getting the entire game. That's basically the plot of the entire movie. But what this movie lacks is what happens in the real world. Because everything in the computer-generated Oasis happens so beautifully and fast-paced and everywhere, the real-world stuff really has to jump the shark to move forward. Love happens instantly, and the plot points happen so conveniently, it's almost like in real life, these people did have the cheat codes to the real world to get everything done they need to get done. Now, as a critic, I'm going to give this movie a 3 out of 5. Now, the nostalgia was great. It was beautifully shot, fun to watch, and the CGI was spectacular. And for the first about half the movie, you can tell Steven Spielberg is doing a fantastic job. Like, I liked the story, it was fun, it didn't take itself too seriously, but it was working, it was great. But then all of a sudden at the halfway point, you can tell all the characters kind of veer off and have to just do things. Things just start happening, and people get smashed together, and you're like, why would these people possibly be together? How does this make sense for this to happen? And you can tell it was an agenda starting to be pushed. It was as if Steven Spielberg was like, okay, now at this point, what are the messages that we need to include to make this movie popular for 2018? Everything just gets a bit more on the nose and obvious the second half of the movie because they're just trying to push a point. But I think what is most interesting is that Warner Brothers has so many pieces of intellectual property they put in this movie, all these characters that I don't want to spoil, but they just like throw them into the movie, and it is great to see which ones work. And I know all the studios are just beta testing this, be like, all right, who did the audience like? What are we going to throw $200 million at next year? And I guarantee you at least 3 characters that pop up in this movie, they're going to have their own movie soon because of the reaction from the audience. Now, my faith and values is a 3 out of 5. Now, there's a strong theme of coming together and fighting for something bigger than yourself in this movie. Now, there's also these obligatory elements of like these comrades rising up together to take off these evil, greedy corporations that are either trying to keep us or ruin our beautiful oasis. Now, here's the real world example of this. Take the Oasis. Say it was run on greed. This evil corporation is going to take everyone's money just so it can make more money. But what happens if they decide to stop playing? Or if another company makes something new that say, hey, we don't have the advertisements, you don't have to get in debt to us, you can just play in the Oasis. Great, that'll rise up, offset it. That's what's going to happen. When it's run on greed, you have to give the people what they want. Here's a little nostalgia for you. Do you remember when AOL made you pay to have an email address? Or you thought unlimited data for your phone would never happen. That would be impossible. And then it did. Because guess what? One company made the email free and another company gave you unlimited data. All of them have it now. Now, the reason why the Oasis worked is because you can interact like the real world. You didn't have to ask for permission. You can go with people, talk, do whatever, fight, kill, whatever. It was just all no holds bar in the Oasis. So let me give you another real world example of what would happen if they gave the Oasis with no rules just to the people. The World of Warcraft was the biggest online game ever. At one point having 12 million people connected, playing together, interacting together at the exact same time. Very similar to the Oasis. Now, what would happen if you took the rules out where you had to agree to engage with somebody? If you had to agree to fight or kill or do whatever, I tell you what would happen. It would be complete survival of the fittest. People would just destroy people for fun, steal the strongest, would take everything away. It would be straight tyranny and oppression constantly, and everyone that's ever played World of Warcraft knows exactly what I'm talking about. So what's the solution? Well, similar to the way the Oasis actually worked best. Anyone can join. There's no barriers to necessarily entry. Yes, if you're fortunate, you can buy great power-ups, guns, have a good time, die, buy back in, whatever. Even if you're dirt poor, you can start from nothing, earn your way up, and become fantastic in the Oasis to be as good and as dominant as you want to be. Capitalism. I mean the Oasis. I'm Ben Davies, this is Pure Hollywood. And another fantastic news, you can now download the Rebel app and take me with you wherever you go to get exclusive content in the entire Rebel lineup.